Greetings nerdy list aficionados and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. We're really milking these boys facts. All the puns from the start. More the boys. There's not enough love out there for mother's milk. So well, he's gonna get his own list. The boys. We're making the rounds. You're all still loving it, so we want to give you what you want. As always, get ready for a mix of facts, but in this case mostly from the comics and spoilers. Always spoilers. I'm Sash and these are the top 10 scary the boys mother's milk facts you need to know. Let's get started. Number 10. Let's start with a nice fact that is kinda scary when you examine it. He's nice. So Mother's Milk, aside from Huey, is the nicest boy. He wants to make the world better, but also believes that some soups could be genuine. He's more anti the system and corporation than anything else. Especially Compound V because of what it did to his family. He befriends Huey and does community outreach work and tries to build a good home for his daughter who he rescued from her drug-addicted mother, doing coke laced with V by the way. So what's scary about him being nice? He's trying so hard in such a dark universe, you just know it's gonna come to a bad end, and oh boy does it ever. The Boys' universe feels very hostile to nice people. It's an ugly, cynical world. A fun place to visit, but I'm glad we don't live there. It's not a mirror, let's put it that way. Or rather, if it is, it's a funhouse one. Number 9. How he joined the Boys. So as the series unfolds, you learn more and more about how each member came to join the Boys. Before his recruitment, Mother's Milk was working as a professional boxer. He was also in the Rangers and joined the army. Also, he could support his family and his mother. However, while boxing, his powers manifested and he took his opponent's head clean off. This was during a championship match, so no keeping that on the DL. He was imprisoned but would be recruited by Butcher and Mallory for the first incarnation of the Boys, before the disaster that would lead to the death of Mallory's grandkids, the murder of the lamplighter, and the truce. Number 8. Born that way. So I just mentioned that his powers manifested. Mother's Milk is one of the boys who was exposed to Compound V from birth, vicariously because his mother worked in a factory that had previously been a Vought America laboratory, and it had never been properly sanitized. I say laboratory both ways. This resulted in her being contaminated, the V working its magic and changing the DNA so her and her children were altered as well. While his brother was left mentally handicapped, MM seemed to be an average child except for one trait, which we'll get to. His father would spend years trying to sue Vought, which would ruin his life even though he would win the lawsuit. The strain was too much. His brother died when his powers manifested and his father died trying to sue Vought again. It's all super depressing. Are you sad yet? Because it's gonna get sadder. Number 7. Motivations. Because of all we just mentioned and more, MM has some of the most solid and nuanced motivations for doing what he does. Butchers get real convoluted by the end, especially when it turns out he was wrong the whole time about the one thing because the Black Noir twist, it's a whole thing. However, MM is further galvanized in his cause by the Brooklyn Bridge incident, wherein he tries to save a woman only to have her torn in half in his arms. The Boys has a thing for people just holding parts of a body. This solidifies his desire to keep fighting Vought, though his motivations are lowered after the death of Mallory's grandkids, given he has a daughter himself. Speaking of, at number 6, his daughter is 12. Now you're probably laughing and going, so lots of people are 12, terrifying. But here's the thing, the Compound V in her system manifested as her maturing early, so she looks 16 or 17, and people think she is, and well, she gets herself into a lot of trouble, because a 12-year-old's I'm grown up attitude in a young woman's body in a dangerous neighborhood with a bad influence of a mother, it's all a lie. Also, it takes the reader a while to realize this. It's not like, oh yeah, explained right away. Like many things in these tales, it creeps up on you. Number 5. His look. So initially MM had a very different design. This isn't uncommon for characters to change over time before they're introduced. He first was introduced in issue 2. MM was the first really big contribution by the series artist Derek Robertson. Initially he had a smooth Mr. Clean look, think season 4 DS9 Cisco, but eventually they decided they wanted him to have a tougher look. So the afro was added, the facial hair, the craggles, all to make him seem more intimidating, less approachable, which played well as a contrast to how approachable he actually was. Side note, artists contribute more to stories than people think. When the relationship between artist and writer is good, it can be a real collaboration and partnership, and sometimes the artist doesn't get cred for the story. Not getting full credit for your work? True terror. Number 4. His name. So if you've read the comics, are reading them, or watched the series, a question you'll have had is just why is that his name? Why does no one seem to question it too much except for Huey? Which, as we said in our We Huey list, is because he's the avatar for the audience, so he's meant to ask all the questions that we have. Well, the reveal is pretty something. It turned out that in the process of altering her and her children, the V created a codependency between MM and his mother, meaning he must regularly go back and drink his mother's milk, so that he can remain healthy, healthy, strong, and just, well, alive. Hence the name. When he was a baby, his mother tried to wean him, but every time she did, he would just get weaker and weaker and sicker. So it's just a part of his life. The thing is, after the death of her son and husband, her powers activated and she gave in to despair, and she became a giant blob that he keeps in the basement. She has no idea what's going on around her, and her breasts have turned into giant snake-like tentacles, a tube for him to suck on. Yeah. Garth Ennis was unleashed. They said yes to all the things, and this is what happens when you say yes to all the things. You get tentacle nipples. Number 3, the milk. So the milk itself, well, it appears to be infused with some kind of enhancing properties. Huey attempts to imbue himself with them when he discovers MM's mother in the basement near the series' climax. She offers up one of her tentacles and says the only thing she seems to be able to say, which is "my boy," because, well, she can't tell it's not her son. So Huey drinks some, but he can't keep it down, finding it too psychologically repulsive, so any benefits it would have had are moot. Disgusting. Number 2, breast fetish. Wow, I got to put this on 2 lists in one day. What a day. I'm gonna go home and blog about it. So because of this codependence and breasts, well, Mother's Milk has developed a bit of a kink, a fetish, and he can't handle it, can't accept it, doesn't want to. It's a constant reminder of what he has to do to survive. And the fact that his mother just lives in the basement, chilling down there alone. That's true horror. Alone, unseeing, just a massive utter. I can't. And number 1, what could possibly be worse than all of that? No more, you cry. Well, some of you cry that, others of you say more, and with a rebel yell as well. Let's get to the reveal. When Butcher betrays the team in the series' climax, he attempts to get Mother's Milk out of the way by orchestrating an incident wherein his daughter and her mother star in a porno together. Yes. He goes to deal with that, but it doesn't take him entirely away, so he still meets his end at the hands of the Butcher, who tells him that he has no friends, or rather mates, before doing the deed. Ice cold. He got iced. I'm Sasha, and those were 10 Scary the Boys Mother's Milk facts you need to know. Thanks so much for watching. As always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more nerdy lists, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.